Hello, you're listening to Over the Oxer podcast with Tracy Cole for all things to do with the mind for equestrians. So this week I am delighted to welcome Jane Badger. And Jane publishes classic horse books and pony books, which you might remember from your childhood or teenage years. And she writes about them too. She's written Heroines on Horseback, the pony book in children's fiction, which is a great book to tell you all about pony books, as well as writing follow-ons to the Jill stories. So if anyone remembers the Jill stories, then there are now sequels that Jane's written. So big warm welcome, Jane.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
And so tell us then, what's your first horsey memory?
Well, that's quite an early one. I was brought up in Ickpole, which is a tiny village in Bedfordshire, and the garden backed onto the local riding school. And so I used to spend a lot of my childhood, I was very small then. I don't know how old I was, but 3 or 4, because we moved when I was 4. And I used to spend lots of my time hanging over the back fence and just looking at the ponies and thinking this was the best thing ever, and stroking any pony that came within range. But my mum knew that one of them, that was a piebald, would bite, and she said over and over again, "Do not hang over the fence. Do not." And anyway, of course, I totally ignored this, and there was the piebald, and of course he bit me. And I remember sort of shooting back to my mother going, "He bit me," and my mum going, "Told you." But it didn't put me off. I was still, I did avoid the piebald. I did learn that much, but I still hung over the fence till it moved. So that's my earliest horsey memory.
Oh, lovely. So then once you moved, did you go to another riding school? Did you get a pony? What was your next step?
I never had a pony, but when we were, it must have been there we moved to Northamptonshire. It's my dad died, my mum remarried, and he lived in Northampton, so that's where we went. And I can remember Mum got us in the car one day, me and my sister, who's younger than me, and we drove up to a nearby village and sort of drew up on this sort of little car parky bit outside what looked like a farm. And she said, "Would you like to learn to ride?" Yes, yes, yes. Dream come true. So that was in another little village called Orton, and we did learn to ride. So I rode there on and off pretty much until I went to university. I always wanted a pony, but we never got one. It was just one of those things. Oh, got the cat sort of wants to join in. Oh, here he is. Is he going to be
Oh, yeah. Is it?
And on the keyboard, mate. Sorry about that.
Okay. They always do that, cats.
Yeah.
And they love sitting on keyboards or computers. They just love it.
Yeah, sorry about it. He will go away, won't you?
So what got you into pony books? Were you always reading them as a youngster?
Yeah, I read anything I could get my hand. I was a mad keen reader, and I pretty much taught myself to read. My mum was an infant teacher, so when she realised I was sort of getting there by myself, she thought, right, let's go for it, and she did the rest. So I read very early, and I think the first pony book I got was going up when we'd moved to Northamptonshire, and there was a little toy shop just down the road. And it had one of those sort of spinner things where they had lots of Armada paperbacks. And I had no idea that pony books even existed. I don't know how I managed to miss it, because I joined the library at a very young age, but I had. And I got out, it was Riding with the Lintons, and I bought that for massive 2 and 6, because this was pre-decimalisation. It was 12.5p for people who are young and don't remember pounds, shillings and pence. And it was just like another world, because I'd realised pretty early on that although I was obsessed with horses and ponies, strangely not everybody else was. So me talking about it 100% of the time was not ideal. So I didn't and I didn't see the people I knew at sort of at riding school or what have you particularly often outside school. So
Yeah.
yeah, so get it was a window into another world, and I could read about ponies all I liked, and nobody was there saying, "Oh, please, please talk about something that isn't a horse." Just quite happy that I was away reading, and
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So it's just this other world that I could do without, yes, having to sort of think about other people's reactions. Was all these people thought the same way I did, and so that was just excellent. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, they were definitely a fabulous horsey fix for most girls, probably of our generation, who either were so totally obsessed and had a pony, but still needed more,
yeah,
or like you and me, we didn't have ponies, so it filled that need as well. So
absolutely.
they were great. You could just immerse yourself in these
Yeah,
adventures, and it always involved some heroic horse or some heroic lady or teenager or something that could turn the
it
horse
did.
around. Or
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a big trope. So did you have favourites?
uh, I liked the Pullein-Thompsons. Those
Yeah.
were my favourites. I read all of those, I think, or a lot of those. Maybe not all of them because there's hundreds. But
There are a
I,
lot.
I read quite a few. Yeah, yeah, and I really enjoyed those because they were complete escapism.
Yeah.
Really were. And you went into a world that was completely different. But you had a sort of insight because, like you, I went down to the riding school, and so I could imagine these things happening.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
that's the point, isn't it? It's close enough to our experience that you can sort of put yourself in the book.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So,
The other
did you, when you first started working, did you decide on pony books then, or did you go into a different route?
no, I've done all sorts of things. I did at university, I did ancient history, which is quite a long way from pony books. I mean, I don't think, looking back on it, I could have done something on the horse as in Greek art, but I didn't. I didn't do anything on the horse at all. And then I worked for a charity fundraising for quite a long while. Yes, it's going to be a very boring progression of my
No, it's
I think I
interesting to
feel.
know. It's
Um,
interesting to know how we get to where we are because
yeah,
it's fascinating when people start and they're
yeah.
miles away.
Yes, well, I eventually, because I got into computers sort of via the fundraising thing, and I taught business and industry software. So yeah, and then that all sort of fell apart when we moved back up to Northamptonshire from London, and there was the train go slow because of the I can't remember which rail accident it was, but it was taking hours to get to London, and I physically couldn't do it with the children. So that was my work, sort of. And
Yeah.
plus, I used to do consultancy writing and proofreading for the Royal Mail, which in those days had a consultancy, and then they just closed it. And so I thought, this this was not this was very very far from ideal because we just moved to a new and expensive house. So I carried on sort of proofreading, and almost by accident, I sort of fell into selling to antiquarian to horse and pony books, and I soon found out that there wasn't really much on the internet about all the pony authors, and a friend of mine, Vanessa Robertson, who I think but we've known each other forever, and she spent most of her life, I think, prodding me, saying, "Why don't you do this?" And me going, "Uh," and I think, "Actually, that's quite a good idea. I will do that." So, and she said, "Why don't you develop a website for horse and pony books?" And so I did, and that's still going. Oh, sorry about the cat again. Oh, there you are. Yeah, he's normally absolutely tranquil, but yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry about him.
It's okay.
Uh, and yeah, I mean, after a few sort of vacillations, I went back to sort of proofreading and editing, and sort of dropped the book selling because it was with Amazon, and so it was just so hard to make a profit. I always did make a profit, but it was just getting the amount of effort I was having to put in to make a smaller and smaller amount of money was just. And then you thought, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah.
And the publishing is another thing that almost sort of came by accident because I was obviously quite well known in the pony book field. And after Patricia Litch, who wrote Jinny books, died, her literary heirs approached me and said, "We would love to get her books back out there. Can you help?" And so I suggested a few things that they could try, different authors, different agents and publishers and things. And they came back and said, absolutely no luck whatsoever. I went, oh, that's a shame. And in the meantime, my godfather, who was my father's best friend, he'd been telling me all about a book by John Buchan that they had read and loved. And he didn't have a copy, so I bought him a copy, nice first edition, and then I got it delivered to him, and I thought, what am I thinking? Because I know that he reads a Kindle. No, I mean, he did read it, bless him. He read it the whole way through with one of those big magnifying glass things. I
Yeah.
thought, it's out of copyright, so I'm going to try and see if I can convert it. So I did, and I thought, oh, that's not as bad as I thought. I thought this was super difficult, and
Mm.
it's really, really difficult to do. It's doable. And then I thought, oh, and there's all those Patricia Litch books that I love. Maybe I could do this. I could start this new thing. And so I did, basically, and here we are sort of 6 years down the line. And yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's how it started. Sorry, it's a bit convoluted.
No, that's great. I mean, that means because I suppose there's a generation of readers who missed out on those books if they were out of print.
Yeah,
And so it skipped a fair few years, and
yes,
and so it's quite nice that people can come back to them. Either, I suppose, it's reintroducing it to the people that I suppose initially with the target audience, so younger readers, but also I suppose there's a whole wealth of people who are our age who go, "Oh, I read those when I was a kid, and I'd love to read them again." And they start reading them, and then they get into them again. Do
yeah.
you find that? Do you find you've got
Oh,
two sets of people?
yes. I mean, very much. I think the second set where it's people who say, "Oh gosh, I remember that," and I mean, lots of people on my social media say, "Oh, I'm so glad that I can talk about this and I can be say that I read children's books and it's okay. No one here is going to judge me." And why would they? I mean, I read other children's books, not just pony books, in the wealth of stuff I read. So yes, but there's an awful lot of people reading things that they had read, they remembered, and then they discover all sorts of things that they hadn't come across before. So that's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
People can discover things, and some really obscure authors like Patience McKelvey, who's my big obscure author, who most people haven't heard of because she never made it in
Oh, okay.
paperback. But I mean, her books I think actually read better for adults than for children because she's really biting. I mean, she's funny, but I mean, she's quite savage. I mean, particularly if you're a Pony Club parent, my goodness me, in Match Pair, which was her first pony book, you can see. I mean, yeah, we've all met them. The hyper organizing mother, the mother, yeah, who definitely has their favourites. So, and then the very good Pony Club instructors as well. But she's really funny, and I think that's been one of my one of my nicest ones because I loved her book so much when I found
Mm,
to be able to say to other people, "Hey, these are really good. I think you'll really like them," and then they do.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's nice.
That's great. What What do you think draws people to these classics rather than the books of today, for instance?
I think it's that sort of call back to childhood, to a time where because even if your childhood was, fairly awful, I mean, these books, they could provide an escape.
Mm.
And I think now, I mean, particularly now when you look at the world and you think, "Oh my goodness, it's, there's Ukraine, there's Palestine, there's rising cost of living, difficult for young people to get jobs, and so on and so on and so on, all the things, difficult to keep horses, everything's getting so much more expensive."
Yeah.
That these are just a way that you can, just for a couple of hours, escape into another world, and I think we all need that, it's
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, it is nice just to be able to go back to a simpler style of life with
Yeah.
much simpler problems,
Yes.
relatively speaking. And it's nice because these books they're not from the digital age.
No.
And so it's not the heroine is worrying about social media or something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
You
The
know?
problems aren't solved on page 2 because you've got a mobile. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Don't use ChatGPT to find out
yeah,
the answer.
absolutely. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, pony books are still going. I mean, very much so, but it's really
Mm.
notable that often they are written or ghost written by influencers. And so I think children today have a very different experience to the one that we did because all that there was for us was pony books or pony magazine,
Yeah. Yeah.
horse and hound, and that sort of thing. Whereas now children have so much on social media and influencers are
Mm.
such a huge thing
Yeah.
now. So yeah, very, very different. I don't know how I would have how yeah, yes, how I would have taken it as a child. I mean, I think I'd have lapped up the influencer stuff
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
much as today's children do, I think, thinking
Yeah.
about it. But
Yeah, because they're role models, aren't they? I mean, our role models might have been the professional riders
yeah.
because Horse of the Year show was on every week and
Yes,
you know,
right. It was
on
great
the
to hear
telly.
every
So
day.
yeah, but
Yeah.
nowadays that doesn't really happen so much. So
Mm,
maybe we would have gone for an influencer here and
mm.
there. So I love that you wrote a history of the pony books, the heroines on horseback. So tell us a bit about that.
Well, that came about because I'd done the website and then a publishing company, Girls Gone By, who specialise in reprinting classic girl stories. A lot of them are school stories, that tends to be their thing. But they did do the odd pony book, and they also republish Monica Edwards. And they said, we would like you to write the history of the pony book. So I went, "Oh, okay, that won't take me long." Oh boy, was I wrong.
Oh.
Which was yeah, that was a lot of that was my fault because I was not always very good at getting down to it. I mean, sometimes I'd write a chapter and it would be flying along. I remember my son was doing his A levels at the same time, and so he would try and get me to get down to it, and I would try and get him to get down to it, and both neither of us really succeeded with those things. And so, yeah, and I had a brilliant editor called Tig Thomas who was just great. I mean, we've remained friends ever since, and she was so good at helping me make the book the best it could be. And I very soon learned that if I sort of scribbled something down, I thought that will do, that it would come back and it would not do. I did manage to get into the habit of doing my best, absolutely trying to do my best when I sent something off to her instead of thinking, not do. But it was great to get it out there, and I'm currently trying to sort of get it typeset and out as a paperback because it's been out as an ebook for quite a while, but getting it out as a paperback's different things. I've got to go back and get all the picture permissions done again, which it takes forever. So
Yeah.
to psych myself up for that one. So that's happening. So that will be out sometime next year, which will be nice.
Oh, that's great. Is that quite a significant part of your work to think about the legal side and the copyright and the illustrations?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have had quite sort of cross comments and sort of correspondence from people who got in touch with me saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Just doing this stuff. Don't you know about copyright?" And so
Mhm.
that's actually quite handy because then I can do a post explaining exactly what I do. Is when I was a proofreader, and we still do. I'm still a member, Chartered Institute of Editors and Proofreaders, and you have to do continuing professional development. So you have to do training courses each year. And one of the ones I did was on copyright. Oh, goodness, that was so useful. So, yes, I mean, it's learning all about the different forms of copyright and what you need to do to make sure you've got it. So, every book, when I want to publish it, if it's a new one, like do Dream of the Dance, that's fine, just get a contract out, we're there. If it's an existing one, then I have to track down the author's, either the author's agent or the author's estate. It means lots of looking at wills to try and find out where they left their copyrights. It's a rare
Interesting.
author or artist who actually does address that in their will. But anyway, technically that's, yeah. And then you have to track people down and say, are you all right? If I publish this, here's contract, this is what these are the royalties you'll get. So there's that. And then you have to go through the same thing if it's illustrated with the illustrations. So Anne Bullen's family, they're so kind. They let me use her illustrations, and that's lovely.
Mm.
And Marcia Lane Foster's as well. She's let me use the illustrations for the team from Low Moor, which we've just brought out. So yeah, there's that. And then you also, when going through the text, you've also got to check song lyrics, poems, anything like that. So I have a spreadsheet for every book when I'm doing the actual conversion and initial proofreading. And anything that is obviously a quotation from something else, it gets written down, and then I have to research it and find out where it comes from. And basically, if the author died a good long while ago, basically we're okay. The Pullein-Thompsons are quite good because they tended to use Victorian poets, and that's fine. About that. But Patricia Litch she just used stuff from all over the place, and that was sometimes, and that was a lot of work. And some extracts you have to pay for. Some people just go, it's fine, just put this in the copyright thing. Some you have to apply for, different ones if it's American,
Wow.
as well as the UK.
That's a huge amount of research for you,
It's an
isn't it?
enormous amount of research. And some you just don't get anything at all. I mean, there are a couple of estates I heard nothing back, couldn't get them to respond to me. So, I mean, the last thing I want is for someone to come after me going, you used this.
Yeah.
Because estates are notoriously litigious, so then you have to cut the piece out of the book.
Yeah.
Somehow. So you've got to rewrite that particular bit. I mean, if I do that, I always put a note in the end saying for copyright reasons we couldn't use the original.
Yeah.
So that's what we've done, so people know. Yes, I mean, thankfully this year's books are not as bad, but last year it was a lot of work with those Jinny books, those missions. So.
You've just brought out a new Jinny book, haven't you? You mentioned it briefly, The Dream of the Dance.
Yeah, that's the one.
Tell us about that one.
Well, that's Jinny 13, so it's brand new. So if you read the Jinny stories, there are 12 of them, and this one picks up Jinny's story at the age of 16. She is about to leave school. The book opens with her having a pretty catastrophic meeting with the local careers advisor, and Jinny just gets marked out as rude and uncooperative. And the rest of the book deals with what is she going to do with her life. And there's also Shanti, which is her Arab mare, Jinny's beloved Shanti, and what is happening in Shanti's life as well. Because without giving too much away in spoilers, there's a stallion appears with the traveller community that have sort of featured in the books. So yeah, that's what it's about, and it's great working with Sian doing this because it's sort of quite collaborative. So we have lots of conversations. So what would you do this? Would you do that? What would you do? And it's gone down, thankfully, because it's been out a couple of weeks now, really, really well, and people have absolutely loved it and say it's true to the originals, and they feel, one I saw today, someone just felt they were back at Finmore and it was a dream come true. So that was lovely. It's always boring when you send a new book out into the world thinking, what are people going to think?
Yeah.
Thankfully, they do love it, and they think that we've done a respectful job and that it does realistically carry Jinny's story on.
Oh, super.
Yeah.
That's lovely. And where can people get hold of that?
Well, they can get it from my website, direct paperback and ebook. You can get ebook and paperback from Amazon, and order it in from bookshops, and the ebook's also available on Kobo. If you like the sort of Kindle Unlimited thing where you actually sort of borrow the book, I don't do Kindle Unlimited because it means I wouldn't be able to sell the books anywhere else at all. They demand sort of total exclusivity. But I do the books on Kobo Plus, that's it, where you can do a similar sort of thing. So if you're a member of that, then you can borrow that, and indeed all the other books, every other book that I do. So that's over 100 on Kobo Plus.
Fabulous. I'm going to put your website and details in the description box anyway, so people will be able to find you and find the books as well. So that isn't the only book that you have written or been involved in a sequel for, is it? You've done the Jill books as well.
Yes, I have done one. I've got another 3 that I've sort of mostly written, but they really need. Yeah, I'm very, very bad at sort of doing. So I'm still very, very good at prevaricating, basically. Running a business, I've got 101 things that I can prevaricate with. Oh, I need to do that. At the author's royalties, I need to do this, I need to do that. All quite legitimate things I do need to do. And I need to write is something that I'm not very good at thinking about, particularly as it's fiction. And I'm a historian by training, and that's what I actually most enjoy writing. So I do love a good ferret about facts. I'm very happier than when I think, oh, I want to know about that, and I want to know about yeah. But yes, I have written a Jill sequel. It is out. It's been out for some years, and that in Pony Jobs for Jill, people might remember that Captain Charlie Saltcut says to Jill and Anne when they finished all their pony jobs and they're back in Chatham, right, girls, now you need riding to be a hobby, and you must go off and do something useful like secretarial training. Which, to be fair, I did do myself. When I came out of university, I thought, I've got no practical skills, not a clue what I want to do. So I'll do a secretarial course, that will help. And yes, that was how the series sort of left. And I thought, well, I wonder what would have happened if Jill had gone to secretarial college, and I went to one in South Kensington called Queen's Secretarial College. And so I made Jill go to that one. I mean, because when I went to it, it was like it was something out of the 50s, so it wasn't a huge jump to just set there. Yeah, and I wrote it sort of on my then forum, and people would comment on it, and I'd hurriedly write another chapter during the next lunch hour, stick that up, and so it was very collaborative, which I quite liked.
Yeah.
I think I write much better if I'm, collaborating with someone, if I'm actively edited. And people have liked it pretty much. I would say it's 95% of people are very kind about it. You do get the 5% who absolutely hate it. But
then they can write their own sequel, can't they?
They could indeed, That's life, really, isn't it? No one is going to 100% approve of everything you do, and that's it's people's right to either like it or not. And I'm just grateful most people actually like it. So, and that was featured on Horse and Hound, their Christmas choices a couple of years back. So that was nice. At least about that, because I didn't expect it. So, yeah.
Fantastic. I had a quick look at your website, and you have got so many authors on there, haven't you? So many books, and also overseas authors.
Yeah.
There's so many. So if anybody is interested, that they'll be there till, I don't know, the rest of their life, probably, if they want to read all of those.
There's a lot on there. There's, particularly American horse book authors, because there are quite a few British ones, but there are many, many more American ones, and still quite a few I haven't actually got on there. But
yeah.
And
when you go back to the old books, then do you go back to their first edition, or do you go to the latest edition when you want to republish?
I always go for first editions, because that's the original. So for something like the Jill books, which were republished an awful lot, the publishers did change things quite a bit. In fact, they changed Black Boy's colour. So, because in the originals he's black, but then he became piebald in the late 60s and 70s. And quite a lot of the text was cut out as well from Jill's Gymkhana. Also, Six Ponies, Josephine Pullein-Thompson, masses was cut from that to fit it into paperback format. So I like to give people the full original experience as the author intended it to be. And so I have it absolutely as the original. It's the original currency. It's pounds, shillings, pence, or it's guinea.
Can we still buy it for that?
No, sadly. No.
Yeah.
Payment provider doesn't work in guineas, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were the days. Those were the days. Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So we mentioned your website, which I'm going to put in the description box. Where can people find you on social media?
I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram because that's all I can cope with, really. I mean, I keep thinking, oh, maybe I should go on TikTok. I think, what particular bit of time do you propose to do that? Um, so no, I mean Instagram. Well, I'm reasonably frequently. I'm much better on Facebook. So
Okay.
yeah,
I'll put those links in the description as well so people can follow you and see what books you bring out. Do you get requests as well? Do people request certain books?
they do. For a long time, actually, ironically, the Jill books were ones that I was requested, but they were a big old battle. It took me literally years to get those. And I actually ended up buying the copyrights myself. And the Jinny books were another one that people requested a lot. I got those out last year and they were very difficult to do because of the previous contracts that they'd been under, but we got there eventually. I mean, sometimes these things do that took, I think, 4 years, start to finish. It's not quick with some of them. So yes, people requested those, and people do request other authors. Some of them I was slightly dubious about because I do feel with the books I need to be enthusiastic about it myself, and
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
why I like it. So it's
Yeah,
yeah,
because it's a tremendous amount of work, isn't it? So if you were only half-hearted about
yeah,
it, and
yeah,
also it because it goes on your website, it's almost like you have said this is worthy of reading, isn't it?
yeah,
You
yeah,
sort of backing it yourself as well. You're not just publishing it,
yeah.
so people
Uh,
will trust your opinion.
yes, yes, that's it. So things like the Jackie books, which I could do, but I didn't like them particularly as a child, and I found Jackie really so incredibly irritating.
So
Yeah, so I mean, people have asked me for this a lot, and I have sort of considered it, and who knows, I may well do it and think, well, if people want it, who am I to stand it, to stand in judgment because I don't particularly happen to enjoy them. There are plenty of people, there are people who really don't like Ginny, there are people who really don't like Jill, but I still do them. So yes, maybe. I mean, next year I'm not doing as much, is the theory. There'll be the paperback version of Heroines on Horseback. There might be an audio version of that. Who knows? Chugging slowly on with that at the moment. And just 3 Diana Pullein-Thompson titles. And a new Jinny 14.
oh,
There
oh.
will be a Jinny 14. We have a working title, but we haven't got, so that's in preparation as well. So who knows? I might finish one of my Jill books. That's a miracle might happen. Astonish my family with the fact I actually finished a fiction book.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for telling us about these books and the immense amount of work that goes behind them that we don't see. We just think that you reel them off the press. But thank
Yeah.
you so much. It's been so fabulous to talk to you and get to know a little
Lovely.
bit more about what you do.
Well, thank you for asking me. It's been lovely. Thank you.